This episode, officially titled American Dream, gives Maddy more screen time. We find out that she landed her unglamorous position as an assistant talent manager by approaching her potential boss at a diner and demanding a chance. She tells Ms. Penzler that although she didn't even bother applying to college as a child of immigrants, let alone attend a feeder school for the entertainment industry like USC, she's not entitled, not a victim, not an HR nightmare, which doesn't hurt that she's willing to disparage her competitors. When the pandemic strikes, she is instantly reduced to smoking marijuana and doomscrolling in her studio apartment after being hired. Real-life video shows civil unrest engulfing the streets of Los Angeles and California Governor Gavin Newsom ordering stay-at-home orders. However, Maddy is a hustler who recognizes social media's potential for financial gain right away. She begins supervising Caitlin on the side and persuades her to push the envelope even more into complete nudity. Maddy's employer is incensed when she enlists her agency client, rising sensation Dylan Reed, in her plot. She makes Maddy give up on Caitlin as a client by laying into her. Levinson, who was well known for producing porn, finds special resonance in Maddy's claim that there is a new middle ground where OnlyFans influencers might go into mainstream industries. Caitlin eventually earns almost $500,000 a month, much to Maddy's dismay. Rue recounts, she wouldn't be an assistant if she had followed her instincts. In fact, she would succeed. For the first time since their intense altercation in high school, Maddy gets a direct message from Cassie while she is in this depressed mood. The gears begin to turn as she browses Cassie's softcore page. In the meantime, Rue has discovered her own American dream, which she attributes in part to her renewed faith in God. She is in charge of the Silver Slipper, one of Alamo's strip clubs, a sleazy roadside establishment where elderly men wearing cowboy hats watch young women pole dance with their mouths hanging open. Unsurprisingly, the club is also a hub for drug use, and Rue's employment involves selling to the patrons. Rue recounts that she would be lying if she claimed she didn't miss Jules, even if she ends up using drugs and hooking up with Angel in her van outside the club. We learn in a flashback sequence that her shame over her ongoing drug usage is linked to her longing for her first love. Rue is first shown dozing off with other addicts in a dirty home. Rue then goes to see Jules at the art school. Too much had transpired between us. She leaves a devastating message in which she begs her mother to contact her back so she may return home, claiming to be sober. However, considering Rue's current situation, it appears that she never did. Angel is unable to move on from the fact that Tish is back at the club. As it happens, the two were great friends, and Alamo's ambiguous account of Tish escaping with a man doesn't sit well with Angel. In the end, Rue simply informs her that Tish passed away. A distraught Angel falls into her own abyss of drug addiction. When Rue sends Angel off at the unremarkable facility after Alamo promises to pay for his rehabilitation, it is obvious that something is amiss. At the front desk, a grimacing woman with filthy fingernails hardly looks up from her video game, recognizes Alamo's name, and declares that no intake paperwork needs to be completed. Angel is reluctantly left behind by Rue, and it seems foreboding that this will be our final encounter with her. When Rue visits Maddy, she finds out that Jules is also involved in the sex trade. She works as a sugar baby, which Maddy says isn't weird at all because every girl she meets is one. Maddy responds, "Yeah, I'm not a fucking hooker," when Rue notes that she doesn't have a sugar daddy. The long-awaited Maddy-Cassie rematch from Season 2 has finally arrived, but it's more Mean Girls than Rocky. When Maddy shows up at the poolside bar where they end up downing Aperol spritzes, she literally blows Cassie away with her sideswept fringe and complete fur coat. At the expense of the other love of my life, Cassie makes a somewhat persuasive statement. As Maddy looks down at Cassie's engagement ring, Rue recounts that she realized this dumb bitch had waited years for that ring just to clear her conscience. Maddy chooses to play the long game, turning Cassie into a cash cow, when it becomes apparent that Cassie was contacting her with the intention of asking for advice on how to become famous. The episode concludes at Jules's flat, where Rue also observes that her purported sugar baby arrangement is going rather well. Yes, Rue has unexpectedly popped up at Jules's house, but she doesn't appear to mind because she's wearing a body-skimming dress and an icy blonde wig that she later removes. When Jules brings up her partner, Rue inquires as to whether he is a parent. Jules comments, "I don't think people are meant to be monogamous." Jules responds to Rue's advances by saying, "You can't just show up after all this time and think everything's going to be the same." Nevertheless, Jules invites Rue to take a bath with her as the evening draws to a close. Rue is currently living her dream, even though she still misses high school. Thanks for watching, stay tuned for more updates.